Okay. Great. And now to tell us exactly where Genesis will be playing on the Turn It On Again tour, please welcome their European tour promoter, John Giddings.
Hello. I grew up on the music of Genesis. I was one of millions who bought their albums the day they were released, took them home up to my bedroom, learnt every word of every song. Along with Pink Floyd, they created a depth and emotion to music way beyond the 3-minute single. I saw them at Decorum College in Hemel Hempstead. I think the support act was Medicine Head. I promoted them at university on the Foxtrot tour. I saw them at Wembley Stadium 5 or 6 nights, then at Nebworth. And now, 15 years later, I'm really pleased and proud to announce they're going to start a European tour in Helsinki on the 11th of June. They're then going on to Denmark, Germany, Switzerland, Austria, Hungary, Poland. They're going to play the first ever show in Monaco in the stadium there. They're going to finish the tour in front of the Colosseum in Rome to 300,000 people, a free show. They're going to play Twickenham in England and Manchester for the Northern fans. It's going to be a fantastic tour. Turn it on again. Thank you very much. Back to you, David.
Thank you very much, John. OK, now could you please welcome to the stage the main act, Mike Rutherford, Tony Banks and Phil Collins. Ladies and gentlemen, Genesis. Hello, guys. You all right? Oh, dear. Oh, see, I should have sound checked. Yep. Chaps, why have you waited 15 years for this reunion?
Why have we waited 15 years?
What have you been doing?
Why? Actually, we just sort of felt that now was the kind of the right time to have a go at it, you know.
Yeah.
I mean...
how exactly did it come about? You know, when did you first start talking about it?
Well, I guess I left in '94, and I did some things on my own. The guys carried on, and you know, I used to listen to the odd bits and pieces at home. Missed camaraderie a bit, you know. And anyway, I was on tour on my own when the first box set came out with the Peter Gabriel stuff, and I remember thinking then at some point someone would ask us to do something, but no one did.
Right.
So that kind of came and went, and I was just talking about it, and then the next box set came out, and I thought someone would ask us, and that nobody did.
No.
Meanwhile, just talking about it, and we actually all get on great, and we've seen each other many, many times since I left, and you know, we kind of bring it up every time we sat down together to talk about it, and sometimes we talked ourselves out of it.
Yeah.
And we just decided that this was as good a time as any to just sort of to actually do something.
It's one of the interesting things about Genesis, I think, is that, you know, the history of rock music is littered with bands that all hate each other, but you don't, do you? There seems to be very little rancour. So, unless, yeah, I mean, it does seem to be quite, you know, very friendly between you, despite the fact that you've all come and gone over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine, like, there's some horrendous stories with some bands, you know,
yeah,
different dressing rooms. I can't imagine being on the road and doing albums with guys you don't like. I mean, you know, we've had a great time, actually, just recording and writing and stuff and touring.
Yeah, there was footage there, actually, of rehearsals. You didn't see it, but we had some footage of rehearsals. How have the rehearsals been going? Can you remember the songs? Is it all right?
Well, yes, we remember the songs, and then we've got to remember...
Asking the wrong guy, eh?
See if we can still play them.
Yeah.
That was the thing, actually.
Yeah.
You know, a few things had to sort of be worked through, get the fingers moving, get the drummer up to speed, and things like that.
Yeah.
But after a few days, it kind of... it was just, you know, the songs, they're so much part of our lives that we obviously still remember everything. And we're doing songs right back from as far as 1973, you know, in the show. So after just a little bit of memory sort of jogging, you find your hands just fit back exactly where they were at that time, and it works well.
And it's a big European tour. Are you going to be touring in the US next year?
Yeah, there's plans to do a selection of shows.
Right.
Rather than a tour.
Okay.
which is the way I like to look at it. I've stopped touring, so I won't call it a tour. This is a selection of shows that we're doing all over Europe, and then another selection of shows which we'll be doing in America.
It's kind of a showcase, isn't it? All over Europe and America.
And there's only 20 of these, and there's only 20 in America. You know, that doesn't seem like a tour. It seems more like a sort of selection of shows, really.
Okay.
Should I say it again?
Yeah. A smorgasbord of shows.
Yes, a smorgasbord of shows.
So, are you rugby lovers, any of you? Because you're playing Twickenham, aren't you? Do you like rugby or do you like football more? Because you're playing Old Trafford the next day.
I watched the odd game at Twickenham. It's a great place, actually.
What? I mean, I've never, because I don't really like rugby. What do you think that'll be like to play a stadium like that?
I think quite good because actually it's like the stadiums. No one's too far away. You
Right.
know, the old Wembley was like the guys at the back were like next door.
When I was at school, I ran at Twickenham.
Did you?
Yeah.
What? Someone chasing you? What happened?
I lived in Hounslow and I went to school in Witton, which is just a stone's throw from Twickenham, and I lost many a race at Twickenham, and then the Jehovah's Witnesses used to come round to our house, and because it was very close to Twickenham, want us to put them up.
Really?
So I have mixed feelings about Twickenham rugby ground.
They wanted to live there. They wanted to live with you. Blimey, they were
while
very.
the Jehovah's Witness thing was happening in Twickenham rugby ground, yeah.
Blimey.
But I live far enough away now that won't happen.
Okay. Now I've been told to ask you this, so don't get offended. But have you got Peter Gabriel's phone number? I'm sure you have.
I do have it.
Did you ask Peter about joining in? What was the story there?
When we first started talking about this, the original idea was actually to do The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway with Peter and Steve. And we had lots of talks about it, and then we finally had a meeting, which I thought was going to be the day when we'd say, yes, we're going to do it today. And Peter said, well, this is a meeting to sort of think about, talking about things in the future.
Right.
And I thought we thought at that point, right, this is going to be quite a long way away, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years. Knowing Peter's schedule, 25 years.
Right.
So we thought at that time, this was a good moment. We were in the same room, and we said, well, let's do it. Why don't we just do that tour, with Chester and Darryl on drums and guitar. And so that's why we're here.
Right, but do you think that there's a chance of later in the future doing shows with Peter Gabriel?
You
or
have to.
Well, I mean, the idea of doing The Lamb was quite fun and appealing. I mean, who knows? Peter's got an album coming out, I know, next year, and probably going to be on the road at the same time as us.
Yeah.
Which is still true to
I met him, actually. I met him.
What's he like?
He's great. He was all right, yeah. He's great. Yeah. Superman. But I really bored him by going. This was about before I knew this was happening. I really bored him for about an hour about doing the tour, to the point that he got a bit scared and left. So that might be why he's not doing it. I don't know.
Of things, like sometimes you read that he's into it, sometimes you read he's not. I think he's very sensitive, far more sensitive than we are about what it means. This is just music, us getting together and playing some songs. It's not that. I guess, certainly from my point of view, I've always done as much as I can. This is something great fun to do. Whereas Peter, since he left, really, he's been doing his thing, albeit lots of different things under that umbrella. And I think he's just a little overcautious sometimes about going back to doing what something basically, fundamentally, is just fun.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
So, can you give us any clues about the set list? I would like you to do a song called More Fool Me from Selling Them by the Pound, which you sung, which I really love. And it's just kind of you and acoustic guitar. Will you be doing that?
No.
No, okay. I knew you wouldn't.
But if you want to come along, I'm sure Mike will accompany you. If you want to come along and sing.
Yeah, I'll sing it, yeah.
No, we don't. I mean, we've started to run through things. We've had 2 weeks rehearsals already, which was actually a layover from the Peter thing, because we were going to do The Lamb. We were talking about doing The Lamb Lies Down, and having seen the musical box as well, actually, I'd forgotten most of it and got terrified at having to play it.
Is it hard? Is it just really hard to play?
Yeah, well, it's just the person that you were like 32 years ago as well. I played differently then. I think we all did, But anyway, I think this 2 weeks we had in New York was mainly just to get our feet wet with playing that stuff. Then, of course, that kind of fell out the window a little bit. We don't know what's happening with the Peter thing. So we just use this time to play through all the songs that we may do.
So it's going to be a huge range of stuff, going back, as you said, Mike, to 1973, right up to the last album you released.
Definitely. I mean, we rehearsed far too much as usual. But, I mean, back playing with Darryl and Chester again. Back, because they're not here. But it sounded great. And we're doing a fair amount of sort of the longer instrumental stuff, too, which always sounds good. And the double drum stuff, I think, which I've kind of missed. The sound you get when you've got 2 drummers.
Yeah.
The racket you get when you get two drummers
Yeah.
playing away.
The wonderful racket.
It sounded very exciting, I thought.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's all the questions that I've got, but you've probably got some questions. So I'm going to take my leave now, but I think Claire is going to come and field questions from the audience.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, David. Right, we have Brianna and Kate microphones. So when you ask a question, if you could take the mic, and let's start off. Pierre.
Wait for it, wait for it.
Welcome back, guys. Good to have you back. And I wanted to know if the dynamics have changed between the three of you in the kind of intervening years, and what it feels like to be back together. And are you also trying out new material?
I think funny thing is when you get back together, it's just like you've never been apart, really. I think we just slip straight back into the same way we used to behave. Still insult him, all the things we used to do. And I think that's half the appeal, really. You're going back to, I don't know, you must have the same thing with old friends, school friends even, when you might meet them 20 years later, and it's funny how quickly you slip back into it. So I don't think the dynamics have changed from that point of view. In answer to the second part of the question, there is this point in time, there's no plan to do anything new.
We do see each other quite a lot, I mean, for various reasons, like when the box set came out, when both box sets came out, I mean, we would do, I mean, birthday parties, weddings, all kinds of things. I mean, we all see each other quite a lot, so it isn't like we haven't seen each other. We haven't played together. Well, actually, we did play at my 50th, and we played at my wedding, but I mean, we actually have seen each other quite regularly. We played at Peter's wedding, didn't we, you and I? So it's not really that special in terms of us getting back together again and wondering what it's going to be like, It's kind of, we just haven't been working in the same office, as it were.
Next question, please. Gentlemen, can you tell us where you're from, please?
Hi, my name is Dominic from DPA, German radio. You're playing 8 gigs in Germany, more than in any other country. Is there any reason for this? You're loving Germany? Or
I knew we'd be asked this. Well, I mean, we're trying to Germany is a big country. We tend to get from A to C, we have to go through B. We're playing, for a variety of reasons, we're playing places that historically has been very good for us, as well as some places that we have never played before. Just trying to find a balance, really. I mean, it's... I
think Germany also attracts from the neighbouring countries as well. We're not doing Denmark, we're not doing lots of other places, so kind of, it is that sort of central point where people can come to. And it'd be fair to say that of all the countries, probably Germany has always been the place that wants to see us most. So that's why we're probably playing a little more time there.
Adam?
Adam Sherwin of The Times. Phil, you've talked about the hearing loss that you've suffered in your left ear. Yeah. What sort of advice did you have medically about going on a tour? And will you be playing drums at some point each night during the tour? Or will you be able to protect your hearing on this tour?
Oh, I don't go for the protection. No, my hearing actually is it's no better, no worse than it was 6 years ago when it happened. So at one point I was advised not to do any more live shows because why take the risk of buggering the other one up, But it wasn't music that did it. It's just it was a viral infection, which could have happened to anybody, and unfortunately happened to me. So, I went on my last tour because I realised that it wasn't actually going to suffer, and I could actually perform without it really sort of taking any toll. So I won't be. I will be playing drums. Oh God, yes, I'll be playing drums. But as soon as I've practiced, I realised that the 2 weeks in New York made me realise I've got to practice more. But there'll be lots of drumming moments. But it doesn't really get in the way. In a loud environment, like in a loud restaurant or something, I find it very difficult to hear. But normally, it's fine. It's levelled off. My brain has adjusted, which is good for a drummer, really.
Thank you. Gentleman over here.
Hi, this is Norbert from Austria, Hit Radio Dry. Nice to have you in Austria, like in terms of this tour. The question would have been, is Turn It On Again, the tour. Was this a long-term plan, you guys coming together, being on tour again, or did it just happen to be?
I think at the moment it just happens to be, really. We're not very good on long-term plans. I mean, I think sometimes you make these big, long plans and then they don't happen, and it doesn't sort of, people get a bit annoyed. We just sort of do what comes along. I mean, as we've said, this is the right time for us, for many reasons, and it's going to work, and then I think we'll see, really. I mean, for years we were asked about touring, and I always never say never. And here we are. So there's nothing planned, but who knows?
How important is the fun part on that?
Fun part? God, yes, it's really important, actually.
Yeah.
I think our vibe was that we couldn't make this fun to do. Why do it? You know. I think we get on great. I think it'll be great. Actually, I really look forward to it.
I know it's hard to believe right now, but actually we spend an awful lot of time laughing. This isn't the most natural environment for us, but actually we do get on really, really well. And we just say the 2 weeks in New York, there's 50% laughing. Well, actually, it was 25% laughing, 25% playing, and 50% hanging around. But it was great fun.
Gentleman in the black shirt.
Hi, this is Jean-Paul Heck from The Telegraph in Holland, the Daily. We talked with each other 2 years ago at the farm about the box set, and we talked about the material of Winds and Wuthering and Trick of the Tail. Are you going to do some material of that, because maybe that's the most likely lovely to play, I guess? You're going to do that stuff, that old stuff?
Well, we're playing stuff from, we've also got 16 albums or something, so we're playing a bit from everything. In the case of Trick of the Tail, yeah, we're definitely playing some things from that, certainly Los Endos. I mean, there is we haven't totally finalised exactly what we're going to play, but there's stuff from every era. Wind and Wuthering we're certainly doing Afterglow and stuff, but some of the things you just can't do too much from any one era. I suppose the era that we're doing more of probably is the last couple of albums we did with Phil, at least, We Can't Dance and Invisible Touch, just because it produced a lot of hits, and people, I think, coming to the shows would like to hear some of those, so that's how we're sort of deciding it.
Hi, I'm Christian from the Jam Genesis fan club. A question about the forthcoming tour. Do you intend to release the shows as an encore series, as Peter Gabriel did? And also, what are about the plans to release the soundboard recordings from previous tours and the Jackson tape and all that stuff?
Huh?
Do you know? I don't know. Haven't thought about it.
I haven't really got that far yet.
It has been talked about, I think, in terms of the existing tour. I mean, it's certainly no technical reason why it can't be done.
What do you think?
Warts and all. People want it. In terms of the old board tapes, I mean, we've got stacks of them. A lot of them have been recorded over, actually, I have to say, with other things. But no, there's an awful lot there. We have talked many times about doing this. It's a lot of work for somebody to do to get it in a state where it can actually be to put out so that people could have it. But if people would like to hear it, I know people would, but it's. So we talked about it for quite a few years and not done anything yet. So don't hold your breath.
I would have thought there'd be some kind of memento of it in some shape or form. I mean, we're going to be having screens, I'm sure, because we're playing outdoors, and if you're filming every night, because you may as well record it if you're doing a live shoot. So, I mean, it's probably kind of inevitable, but we haven't actually got that far in talking about it.
Okay, thank you. ZDF in the corner there.
I feel you are denying kind of the tour because you call it shows, although it's written on the screen there, the tour. I just wonder if you are a bit worried about the physical stress.
Ignore it.
Okay.
It's a selection of shows.
How do you prepare physically for this selection of shows then?
Well, personally speaking, I mean, Tony goes into a very rigid regime when he's all night. No, I mean, the rehearsing does it, really. I'm not very good at training. I've never been very good at sort of just standing or sitting on a bike, you know, sitting in the same place. I mean, I find I get healthier and fitter doing it, which so you know, we'll be sort of trying my best during the rehearsals. I just want to just make sure I've just got to, my main thing is not being fit, it's actually making sure I don't get ill, cold or something, because that always buggers the whole thing up. So I'll be trying my best to do that. But yeah, it's not that strenuous, this selection of shows.
Right. Gentleman in the white shirt, Kate.
Thanks. Hi, Mark Chigesha from The Express. How important is the financial element of this to you, or is it a purely artistic endeavour?
Oh, that question.
We're just doing it for fun. I mean, that's really the thing. And also, hopefully, the only other area that I care about, I think, a little bit, is that if Genesis is played on the radio at all these days, it tends to be in England anyhow. I can't speak for the rest of the world, but it tends to be things like, you know, Follow You, Follow Me, or I Can't Dance, or something. And Genesis has another side to it, which is really what makes us distinctive, I think, and it's probably the reason why we've lasted all the years we have, which is of a rather more sort of like complex kind of area of music. And because the band's been kind of schizophrenic, you know, sometimes one area gets slightly more attention than the other. So I'm very pleased to go out there and be able to play things, well, like we mentioned, Los Endos or Domino or In the Cage and things like this, which represent that other side of us as well. So that's one of the motives for me for doing it, is just to try and reacquaint people. You know, Genesis is not, you know, it's not particularly a group that's sort of mentioned very much these days in the papers I read, anyhow. And I'd just like to slightly sort of just remind people that we did do a lot of different things.
I think if money was an issue, we'd be doing more than 20 shows. That's one thing. You know, I think if we were to satisfy the demand that I suspect there is out there, we would be playing the Far East, we'd be playing South America, we'd be playing Asia, we would be playing, you know, more shows than we are in Europe, more shows than we are going to be playing in America. So, you know, I think we're all loaded enough without worrying about where the next million or two are coming from. No, I think it's true. I mean, you know, we would be playing multiple dates in multiple stadiums, and we would be playing. You know, the reason we put a cap on it is because we want to do this for us as much as anything else. So,
I think it also makes it seem more special. You know what I mean? The whole year tour like we used to do becomes something else. But just the 20 shows here and in America, it should feel more special, I think, for that reason.
Christiana at the back.
Yes, I'm Christiane Riedmann of ARD in Germany, ARD Radio. I would like to know if you have a visual concept for your series of shows.
Visual concept? Well, we're still doing that, really. We've had meetings, you know, we've had some thoughts on that area, but I mean, whatever we do, you know, we kind of owe it to ourselves to try and make it look good, because if we are playing some stadiums, there are people at the back that want to see things, you know. So it's yeah, of course there'll be some kind of visual presentation. I mean, but bigger isn't necessarily better. So we're still umming and ahhing about that. We're talking about next June, so we've still got plenty of time, but we have started thinking about it.
Hello guys, I'm Dave Ling from Classic Rock Magazine. Basically, I'm kind of a little bit surprised that Steve Hackett's name hasn't come up so far in this discussion, because he was very proactive, so I'm led to believe in the reunion. So what's the score with that?
Well, I mean, there was two conversations. One was like the five-piece, with Peter and Steve doing something from that era, and the other was obviously the three-piece, and the three-piece comes with sort of Darrell and Chester, really. Kind of strange to do.
Giant handkerchief.
Playing devil's advocate for a minute, is he upset he's not involved in this?
I think he would like to, certainly, if you're doing the thing with Peter. I mean, he would always obviously be involved. But in terms of, I mean, there's a sort of era of the four-piece, if you like. There's a very short period of time, and it's not really relevant, I think. You know, we toured for years after that with Darrell as guitarist, and I think that's how we sort of see it. It would be a bit uncomfortable to sort of go back to kind of some hybrid kind of situation, I think.
Classic rock readers would hate me if I didn't ask you, are you perhaps planning to do Suppers Ready?
We're not planning to do Suppers Ready. Well, we're not planning to. You asked if we're planning.
Next question. Gentleman in the orange jumper.
Mario Giametti from Italy, Gem Magazine. I would like to know if there is any chance to perform any songs from Calling All Stations album.
No, because at the moment we've rehearsed a lot of music, way too much already. We look forward to playing, really. And it wasn't full anyway, which would seem strange. But I mean, our problem at the moment is we've got far too much material we want to play. So that's what comes first, really, obviously. This girl, she's been going all the time. I think we should talk. Yeah. We can hear you.
Emma Pride from The Sun, congratulations. You were saying it took a while for your fingers to limber up again. So have you guys passed it?
What do you think?
Come and judge for yourself, when we play, I think is the answer to that. I mean, I've been playing quite a bit, in terms of my fingers. I mean, I did a sort of classical project 3 or 4 years ago, which required quite a lot of playing, so I can do it. But it's just getting back to playing that kind of music and those kind of, just those parts again, really. It shouldn't be a problem, but who knows?
And there's quite a few bands at the moment, like All Saints, who've reformed. What's your take on bands like All Saints who've got back together again?
I'm afraid I didn't know they'd split up. I'm not.
Thank you.
You're asking the wrong person. I haven't really listened to very much since about 1968.
No.
So,
right, next question. Thanks, Tony. Gentleman here.
Alan here at the Waiting Room magazine. You've mentioned, guys, that you're actually playing songs this time. So does that mean that we'll actually have complete songs rather than conflated medleys this time round?
Picky.
Sorry!
No, we are only too aware, I think, that, you try to please everybody and you end up pleasing nobody sometimes. So, we used to put these medleys together because, so it referenced an era as well as anything else. And sometimes we realise that they kind of fall between two stools. They don't satisfy anybody because they're just little bits of songs. So we are addressing that problem, and the committee is meeting. No, we've have sorted that out, and we're doing more of them. Yeah, there'll be a couple.
Instrumental medleys, anyhow.
Caroline from The Guardian. Caroline, we need to do it because we're doing the webcast. Yeah.
Caroline Sullivan, The Guardian. Phil, a couple of years ago there was a rather surprising hip-hop tribute album released by a load of American hip-hoppers and R&B acts, a tribute to you, obviously. Yeah, very good. Now, hip-hop artists have a very big tradition of appearing on stage at each other's concerts. So when you tour America, do you think that 50 Cent or The Game might be doing a guest appearance with you?
Well, yeah. If they can play drums and sing, they can certainly take my place. But no, actually, we're much hipper than people think. There's a sort of a different, there's a kind of a bit of a rebirth in interest amongst other bands and sampling stuff and I mean one track, Land of Confusion by Disturbed, comes to mind. It was kind of a pretty big hit in the States, and it's if you actually talk to people, musicians, there's quite a lot of respect for bands like us, and I doubt if they'll come on stage with us because we're not really that kind of band. I mean, it's not like we're going to do a 12-bar and everybody can come on and sing along, but it's very flattering, I've got to say. I mean, I was very flattered, but. Well, they have been, yeah. They have been, of my songs, and there's also been of That's All. There was a track called That's All, which was, I played the guys the other day, because I kind of keep an eye open for all this stuff as it comes, and I grab a copy and I played them That's All, and it was illuminating, it's great. And it just means that we're not stuck in the 80s, as some people tend to think of us as being. I think there's a certain, people go back and revisit that stuff, and they bring it into this day and age, So I mean, I think it's great. It's very flattering to to be looked at slightly differently from another area of music, you know.
Can we have one last question, please? Gentleman in the front.
Yeah, Mattia Bagnoli from AP Italy. Just a question about the last show in Rome. I understood it is only, you know, the only show out of a stadium, and so in a square public show. And are you preparing something special for that occasion?
Well, hopefully the event itself will be special. I mean, I'm sure if we have to sort of gauge up, obviously if it's a lot of people, then obviously there's going to be some changes that have maybe. We're going to make sure that it works if it's going to be that big to that many people. But we're kind of, it's a little bit early to sort of get specifics on that. I mean, we're just, I think it's going to be a fantastic opportunity to play to an awful lot of crazy Italians. Perfect.
Okay, well, that's it. Thank you very much for coming, everyone. Bye-bye.